Family and friends, how are you? Today I'm here with, I want to say, a legend, an icon, Jeff Costello. So I met Jeff a couple months ago, right? We met. And Jeff is the owner of Tribeca. You founded Tribeca. You started from scratch. And today, really, I brought him on for you guys so that you're able to get a little bit more, I want to say, information from not just a seasoned realtor, but an owner. Somebody that's built a company from scratch, someone that's actually grew a business in a company in today's market. But that's why I wanted you here, Jeff. I wanted for you to educate a lot of consumers, educate a lot of families, because there is a lot of noise, right? We're seeing a lot of stuff online from a market standpoint. We're seeing a ton online from, hey, is this right now a good time to buy, not a good time to buy? Real estate agents, a lot of realtors are confused right now when it comes to how to grow their business because, of course, we're in a very, I want to say, adaptable environment. So why don't we start with this? Why don't you tell me, when did you get into real estate? Like, how did you get into real estate? What's your story?
So I started back in 2005.
Okay.
My first real estate job was in wholesale mortgage.
Okay.
So my clients back then were mortgage brokers,
Nice.
credit unions, some banks. And my job really was to kind of train them. Well, I was trying to sell them loans, and it was back during the subprime era, the Alt-A stuff. So... But it was the wild, wild west back then. So that, mortgage was not regulated. It was, a guy that was working at the grocery store last night could be a mortgage broker today.
That's crazy.
And, a lot of T-shirts, hats on backwards, flip-flops. Those were my clients.
Wow.
And then navigated into the housing market crisis of 2008. And I remember I was working for First Franklin at the time. We had a record month.
What area? Where was that?
Well, I was in Bellevue.
Okay.
In the Seattle marketplace.
Okay.
And, we had set a record for the month of, I want to say it was like July of 2007, and all the big wigs came up. And they're like, hey, guys, this doesn't look pretty. If you can get your last job, go get it. And I didn't want to do that, so I started really focusing on real estate because I loved the people that were in real estate, the relationships that I were building. And when I became a real estate broker, I was primarily working with mostly my brokers that I had worked with, their clients, because they were starting to see defaults. So I did a lot of short sales, did a lot of investor work, for the first couple years. I was just trying to navigate through the real estate market, and I had some success.
Yeah. So you went from being a lender directly to a broker.
Well, yes and no. I was never a lender. I worked for a wholesale mortgage company.
Yeah.
It was like a mega broker.
Okay.
But I wasn't consumer
So you went from
faced.
perfect. So you went from being a broker of mortgage company to being a broker of a real estate firm.
Yes.
Okay.
But back then they called us agents.
Okay.
And then we became brokers, which is really confusing to most everybody, because I still think of myself as a real estate agent, but I'm really a real estate broker.
Okay. So is that where Tribeca, was that how Tribeca was born, right?
No, Tribeca wasn't, we didn't start Tribeca for quite a few years later.
Okay.
So what had happened was I had, 2011 happened, and that was when things turned around, and it was the turning point to when the market started taking off again. And, that kept going until, it's still going. But from 2011 until 2015, I was working with my brother, and we were just working together because we wanted to have some balance in life, because we were both successful real estate agents. But as a real estate agent, you get absolutely no time off if you're doing your job.
You're working weekends.
And you're available to your clients. So we had decided to partner up so that we could each have our own balance in life and have some coverage.
Okay.
And one of the things that we had decided to do early on is find a coach. So we started interviewing coaches, going to different coaching programs, Brian Buffini, Tom Ferry, and there was a couple of little coaches local that really didn't have a name for themselves. So we ended up with Tom Ferry.
Nice.
And then
awesome company, by the way. Tom Ferry's phenomenal.
Tom is great. I've got to know him personally. And,
nice.
And,
Okay. Cool.
When I first signed up for coaching, it was Tom filling out the form, and he's
really?
gotten much bigger.
So how is Tom like face to? I've never met Tom Ferry, right? So how is he like face to face? Like what kind of a guy is he?
He's a massive overachiever,
really?
But he's very humble, and he can connect with you, and he's really good at like knowing who you are and remembering conversations that we've had in the past. Okay. So I've been fortunate because I started early enough in coaching where he wasn't this big, huge coach, but I remember when I was early on, I'd see these. These flyers or these videotapes of Tom in our office. I'm like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
So, but my business has been impacted by coaching. Yeah. And really, it's not just Tom or the coach that I coach with or coaches. Yeah. It's the ecosystem of people. So, you can rip off and duplicate, which is a big thing that is kind of preached in Tom Ferry is, you get to know some companies or some brokers or teams that are having the success that you want to get to, and you can pretty much duplicate what they're doing. Yeah. And what's cool about coaching that you don't get on a local basis is, if you work in a big office, you have a few people or a few teams that are doing massive business. Yeah. But those guys are busy, and they're not going to welcome you into their team and share with you their secrets. Yeah. And there's no real secret in real estate except for hard work and hustle. Yeah. But that's what the team leaders of these big, offices are promoting. Like, hey, you can learn from these guys, which is complete BS in my opinion. So back to coaching is with, having access to some top producers across the country, you get to learn the tricks and the trades and different things that they're doing. But again, the secret to having success in real estate is hard work and hustle. Yeah, hard work. You got to have work ethic. Yeah. You got to have drive. You got to have the ability to build rapport with people. You got to be available. Yeah. And that's the trick. Yeah,
and even from like a lending standpoint, right? I'm huge. I mean, one reason why I really like your company is because you guys offer coaching to your realtors. So I know you guys have a boot camp once they onboard, especially if they've been in the business for a year or two or three, maybe, and seasoned realtors too, of course. Maybe they just don't know what to do day to day, right? And they're like, hey, what do I do? And you guys offer a lot of coaching, and I do personally believe that you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Right, you can 100% hire a coach or find a good broker that provides coaching and learn how to build a successful craft, successful business.
Well, I think as a team leader and as a broker, I am a coach, right? Correct. And I think that is where a lot of what I call the big box brokerages miss. Yeah. They're selling a name brand, or they're selling how many agents that they have in their network or whatever, right? Yeah. But I think it's the job of the designated broker or the managing broker, the leadership within a brokerage to be the coaches, the mentors, and give direction. And I think that as an industry, that's where we are missing it because there's 1.2 million real estate agents, brokers, realtors across the country, but half of them didn't do any business last year. Yeah. So where are we missing it? Yeah, and I think the National Association of Realtors and the big boxes, their motive is just to get, people to get into their program, pay a monthly fee, and just kind of leave them alone. Yeah. And it's a disservice to the industry. It's a disservice to,
the individual,
the clients, the buyers and the sellers that are out there, and it's a money grab, I think, for, these big entities. Yeah. And that's their business model. And it's a business, and that's what we have in, America is capitalism. Yeah. But for the individual agent, they need more than just a name brand. Yeah. Right? They need to be coddled a little bit. They need some direction. So if you're a brand new agent or you're thinking about getting into real estate, I would suggest, especially in this market, is you've got to find a team and learn from the team, because the teams already have systems in place. They're lead generating. They've got training, accountability,
structure,
all that stuff that a new agent that, gets into the industry, they need that. Yeah. I was fortunate because I made a pretty quick transition from being in mortgage to real estate. I was driven. Yeah. I didn't need to be motivated. I understood sales. Yep. and I had little kids at home that I needed to feed. So real estate is kind of a natural fit for me for everything that I've done up to this point. Led me to be a real estate broker. So as far as Tribeca and how it got founded is working with my brother was a challenge, right? And it's not easy to have a family business, and we had a successful business. And we just had decided collectively that this was not the best fit for us in our relationship, so we went in different directions.
Okay.
So, but at that time, we were both working for a big brand, and I wanted to create something different. I wanted to create a company, a team, because I was a team under a big brand, but I didn't want it to be the Jeff Costello team. So my assistant at the time and I kind of mastermind and try to figure out what's a good name. And, you know, it's hard to find a real estate name. And so she finally just said, think of some places that you've been. And I just kind of rapid fired and Tribeca, which is a neighborhood in New York City. I just spit that out and we kind of ran with it. And then we made Tribeca into an acronym for what we stand for, which is teamwork, respect, integrity, balance, equality, community, and accountability. And that's how we try to run our business and our team and ourselves.
So I know that you guys are, I don't want to say super picky, but you are very cautious about who you hire, right? Because culture for you guys is huge. Talk to me a little bit about the culture in Tribeca.
Well, the culture is very important. One is the people that we bring in, we're welcoming them to the family. And unfortunately, and I would say fortunately and unfortunately, I've had people on our team in the past that have been cancer. And they come in and they want to change the way things are done, or they want more attention or what have you. And it's destructive to the team. So I went through a process, and I'm at Tribeca 2.0 now. And
trial and error when you're building a company.
That, there's certain individuals that will never be good teammates. They could be good real estate agents and they could be good people, but doesn't mean that they'll actually be good for an organization or a team. So we're very selective on who we bring in. It's culture driven. And, I look at it this way: as whoever I bring on is a business partner of mine. And it's my job as the team leader and the broker to make sure that my team member, my partner, is successful. And there's a big commitment in that. And that's the same for them, is they've got to make a commitment to us. And, you can usually tell fairly early if a person's going to kind of fit that mold or not. So we ask some specific questions in our interview and through the process to kind of bring that out so that we don't find ourselves, 3 or 4 or 6 or 9 months in with somebody who is destructive to the team.
Which is huge, right? And I think out of the couple of realtors that I've met already that work at Tribeca, they see your passion, how much you want to grow, how much your team lead wants to help them grow as well. And with what you guys do, it's huge. It's huge. And there's back to what you were saying before with so many realtors, right? 1.2 million plus. It's not. There's a famous saying in the real estate world, right? 90% of deals, real estate transactions, are closed by 10% of realtors, right? So you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You can 100% go out and find a company, find a good coach, find a person that specializes in closing transactions, but more importantly, helping families, right? And it has a lot to do with sales. It has a lot to do with how you present your information. It has a lot to do with just step-by-step systems, processes, and being super organized and upfront. Because you're right, there are so many people today, people that I've personally met, and after meeting with them, real estate agents that are maybe a little bit newer, you just think, gosh, how is a family going to trust somebody with the largest financial decision of their life with somebody that doesn't even have basic knowledge or basic coaching or just basic education on the business or how to properly present themselves and present their products or present their services. So that's a big deal, and it's no fault to them because they don't know what they don't know. And you're right, our industry, our business, from lending, from real estate, we lack that. We lack that a lot, which is sad for me personally. But it's great for, I think, top producers because they can set the bar a lot higher and they're able to help more families.
Well, I think the biggest problem with our industry is the bar to entry is so low.
So low, yeah.
And that anybody and everybody can be a real estate agent. It takes less schooling than somebody who is cutting hair. And that's no knock to, people cutting hair. It's just that when you're dealing with somebody's financial well-being and their livelihood, that's pretty significant.
It's a big deal.
And I really believe that that what we do is more significant than we're given credit for. And, dealing with something or somebody's personal finances or their livelihood needs to be looked at, I think, on a bigger scope from our industry. And that's what I think we lack. As far as what we do differently, I find that there's a lot of really good people that are not real estate agents because they can't make that leap into real estate. And I think that there's a lot of people that are in real estate that probably shouldn't be because they don't have what it takes to be a real estate agent, being able to build rapport with people, being able to listen, be able to understand the process. Because real estate is a very emotional business to be in. More so for a buyer's agent than a listing agent. But for a buyer's agent, you're owning those emotions that your buyers are going through, especially a first-time home buyer or somebody who's relocating to the area. For listings, it's a little bit different. It's more business, but you got to remember that the people that are selling their house, there's a life event that has caused them to want to sell that house. Whether it's divorce, whether it's relocation, there's many different reasons why somebody would sell. And, being a part of that process is something that I don't take lightly. And, I think the industry as a whole, doesn't take lightly, but I don't know if everybody understands that when they first get into the business.
Yeah. And that's huge, right? Because you're right. I personally think it's a blessing if you're able to help a family through the largest purchase, the largest financial decision of their life, whether it's on the buy side, the sell side. I think it's a huge blessing if they trust you, but that's also a lot of responsibility, right? That's why you need the coaching, you need the guidance, you need to be able to do what's best for them, while also making sure that you're negotiating on their behalf at the best, not of your ability, but at the best ability that the market's able to give you, right? Because that's why people hire realtors. Why do you hire a real estate agent? Because they're going to negotiate on your behalf. They have to be incredible negotiators. They have to help you find the right home.
Yeah, but I don't think consumers really know that.
No, they don't.
I think consumers go into this process blindly, and they don't know the difference between a good real estate broker and a bad one, other than they're licensed. So I would say if you're a consumer and you're looking for an agent or broker, is you really kind of look at you look at who they are. I mean, the social proof is there if you look for it, whether it's, Google or Zillow or the many different ways that you can kind of research a broker it's out there. And unfortunately, and I mean, a lot of people hire the wrong brokers. And I had one not too long ago where I had a past client that I looked up and saw that they had sold their house. And that's my fault for not following up with them. But I looked at their listing and I knew the agent. And it was a disaster. And I know that agent cost them at least $10,000. At least, they did photos from their phone, and they didn't price it right, and they probably didn't do all the things that they could have done to maximize what the seller could have gotten for it. So, that happens more often than not. You know what? I'm a true believer that there are a lot of really good real estate brokers in our industry. Right? I've learned from them. I've watched them.
And I would consider you now an expert in real estate, right? So because you are coaching, you're guiding, you're leading. So now I think it's also huge for newer realtors, or even if they've been in business 5, 6, 7 years, to learn from people like you, because not only have you been in the business for so long, but from a coaching standpoint, it's almost like, hey, you can go and work belly to belly with another real estate agent, but if the max volume that they're doing is, let's say 10, 15, 20 mil a year, you're only going to learn so much. Versus working with, let's say, someone that's doing $100 million a year plus, those 6 months with a producer like that will be like 15, 20 years or even more with somebody that's not doing as much. So because of the coaching, education, guidance that they're able to get, you're able to propel. It's a big deal.
And I think, and here's another great thing that I love, and I think it's Tony Robbins who brought this up, is that you're the average of the five people that you hang out with. Yeah. So if you are a new agent in an office where you're just hanging out with other new agents, or not necessarily just new agents, but non-performing agents, you're never going to get better, right? And I think one of the things that I love about my company is that we do have some high producers. Yeah. Right. I've got 3 or 4 people that are going to probably do 40 transactions this year, and it's collaborative. Yeah. It's a little competitive, but it's collaborative, and they all share and they all push each other, and they're not only competing with one another, they're competing with themselves. Yeah.
So for those of you, real quick, that don't know, 40 transactions a year is a lot of business. You need to be very good at business from an operations standpoint with your time management. That's being considered a top 1% producer if you're doing that much volume. That is top 1% producer status. That's a big deal because majority of realtors, on average, will close 3, 5, maybe 7 transactions a year, if that. If that, especially looking at.
Well, I have one of my top producers. She's been with me for 3.5 years. She started as a brand new agent, and in that 3.5 years, she's sold north of about 110 homes in that short period of time. That's most real estate agents' careers is selling that, and she is just a rock star. She's humble. She's she shows up every day, ready to go, and she's got balance, and she's a rock star. And I have more agents. I just can't go into all of it with you, but I think one of the things that we've done really well with is with new agents. Yeah. If somebody comes in, they're hungry and they're humble and they're smart, they can have a lot of success with us. Because my job is to provide them opportunities if they bring the rest. Yes. And you're going to do 90% of your business is going to be done from resources, channels, and opportunities that I provide. And that's where I think agents succeed. Now my goal with those agents is let's try to convert a little bit more into past clients, sphere of influence, and expand from doing 40 transactions a year to doing maybe 60 transactions. And that's possible. And I know a lot of people go, wow, that's way too much. But if you have the right team that supports you, you can do that. Because really it's a good agent's shaking hand and kissing babies, right? They're writing offers, doing inspections, but everything else is done for them, right? They don't have to do the lead generation. They don't have to do necessarily the follow-up. They've got to follow up with their existing stuff, but really it's lead generation, that's my job as a team leader. That's where the partnership comes in.
Awesome. So give me your opinion on this market in 2023. 2022 was insane from a market standpoint. I mean, it's a down market for all realtors. It's a down market the whole market is definitely shifted with, the inflation of interest rates going up, CPI numbers. You have, Papa Jerome Powell, Federal Reserve trying to do what they can to counter inflation, these continuous CPI rate hikes from, the bond market, right? So when we're seeing 30-year, 15-year treasuries go up like that, the whole economy is shifting. Inflation has been continuously going up. So they're trying to get it under control. What's your, I don't want to say opinion, where do you think the market's going to go? What's your perspective over the next, I want to say 6 months to a year?
So
it's a tough question.
No, it is. And I have some self-serving interest in this is I think that I think it's a very healthy market right now. Okay. One, yes, inflation is happening. Yeah. Interest rates are rising, but so are incomes. So is net worth. So are, homes have appreciated quite a bit over the last couple of years.
A lot.
The wild west, which I called back in, 2004, 5, and 6, is different than what I saw the last couple of years, which is what I call the gold rush, right? It actually wasn't very fun to work the first part of last year when you had 10 clients that were willing to buy anything at any price. Yeah. But it was very difficult to get any of them under contract. You had to literally give up everything, and it was like winning the lottery. So right now, today, what I think is happening is that, there's an opportunity for buyers and for agents agents that have the skill to navigate through this market and have the skill to actually sell a home. And it's not us selling a home like you would see on HGTV where we have to show. Consumers know the home that they want. They buy the home in their head before they even look at it most of the time because they're doing research on it, the school and the commute and the location and all of that. As a broker, it's our job to navigate them through how to write the right offer, to be very strategic, and to kind of validate their thought process. Yeah. So to tell you what the rest of this year is, I think it's an opportunity for those that can see it. Yeah. There's going to be a lot of people that will not see it, and that's okay, right? Because, you know, those that can't see it probably are the ones that should exit the marketplace. The ones that can and that will focus on your skills, your follow-up, you know, being able to communicate with people. I think that those people are the ones that are going to succeed. And if you treat real estate like a career, like a job or a lifestyle, you'll have success. But too many people get into real estate for the wrong reasons. They get into it because they want freedom, they don't want a boss, and they don't want to be accountable. Yeah. And every top producer laughs at that because we have to be accountable. We have to be accountable to ourselves, maybe our partners, but most definitely our clients. Yeah. We have to hustle. Yeah. We have to work hard. Yeah. We have to know what we're doing. We have to know the market. We have to know what's going on. And be able to guide people through this process because it's their biggest purchase or it's their biggest sale for most people. Not everybody, but for the majority it is.
98%.
So to answer your ultimate question, I think that this is going to be a great market for those that know how to capitalize on it.
Yeah, and I would say that's a really, I want to say, awesome, nice, polite way to say it. Like when I'll talk to a lot of realtors or business owners, I say, this is going to be a hard year for realtors. It's going to be a tough year for lenders. This year, unless you're growing, right, like exponentially growing, coaching, doing whatever you can to increase your skills, working on your operations, and grinding, hustling really hard, it's going to be a hard year. And majority of realtors, majority of lenders, majority of people in our business, unfortunately, they don't have that drive or hustle. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be like it was in 2020 or 2021. Those were a lot easier years, low-hanging fruit. Everyone made a lot of money. Everyone helped a lot of families. But like you said, from a market standpoint, I would personally rather buy a house today than in 2021. Why? In 2021, there's a home listed for $700,000. I'd have to offer $900,000, do $100,000 in earnest money released upon acceptance, no contingencies, and pray to God that everything goes through and inspection's fine, appraisal's fine. If appraisal comes in low, I'm gonna have to come up with a difference. Big deals. In today's market, it's the complete opposite, right?
Well, I think market. With what you're saying is a lot of people bought houses that were not their ideal house. Yeah. And now that they actually have that opportunity. Yeah. Right. So it's crazy, and this is what's fun about real estate, right? Is because no two transactions are the same. No. And no two clients are the same. There's some similarities, but it's not a mundane type of industry. It's fun. Yeah. It's challenging, it's stressful, but at the end of the day, it's exciting and it's very fulfilling.
Definitely. I want to close with this. I know you guys are growing as a company. You guys are expanding. What's your goal for, I want to say, the next half decade? Where do you envision Tribeca to be?
My ultimate goal is I want to be a regional presence in the Seattle market. Okay. I want to have as many as 200 agents that are doing 20 transactions a year, and I want to have multiple offices around the area. But I want to maintain a high level of expertise. There's some things that we're working on internally, is making sure that the client experience is great, that the agent experience is great, and that we can be a force in the industry and set an example for those that want to be like us. Yeah. Right. I think that a lot of the big boxes, they're set in their own old ways. Yeah. And we've got to adapt or die, and that's what I believe we have to do as an industry to survive. And I think that we can do that at Tribeca with the right people in place, with the right mindset of agents, and train them to be good at what they're doing, have the skills and know how to provide service.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, that's what it's about, is taking care of our clients.
Yeah. And I would say you guys already have the right people in place. You guys already have a phenomenal foundation, and you guys have a ton of realtors working with you. So now it's, you know, from a growth standpoint, you guys are heading places, which is phenomenal.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
You know, but there's always room to improve,
yes.
and you know, and progress is not perfection. It's growth.
That's right.
So
that's right.
That's where we want to go. Is I want to make a difference, and I want to build a legacy.
Yeah. Perfect. I mean, that's fantastic. Friends, I want to just say this. If you are a real estate agent, you've been in the business for a couple of years or more, and you're thinking about reevaluating the current broker that you're working with, I want you to do me a huge favor. Either reach out to me or reach out to Jeff. I know he would be more than happy to sit down and give you guys some education. I know personally he's a wealth of knowledge. I've been to your office. I've met your team. You guys are phenomenal. I wouldn't just say that if I didn't personally believe in it. So
appreciate that.
Reach out to him. And thank you, Jeff. Thank you for coming on. I might have you on again to talk about a couple more things. I know I have a list of things that I'd love to go over with you just because I know you're a wealth of knowledge. You've been doing this for a while, and seeing you guys grow is fantastic. It's beautiful. We need change in the market, and that's what you guys are providing.
Thank you.